Yo, it's me, CSCOTT, baby. And welcome to Throwback Thursday, where I take a look at a movie that came out in the 90s. And this week's review is Go! The 1999 film Go! Starring Taye Diggs, I'm going to read out the thing, William Fichtner, J.E. Freeman, Katie Holmes, Breckin Meyer, Jay Moore, Timothy Oliphant, Sarah Polley, Scott Wolf, and it is directed by Doug Liman. Breckin Meyer has like maybe 5 lines in this movie, maybe a little bit more, 10 maybe, if even. So here we go. I have a little history with this movie. I think I told you guys before that growing up, I used to, when I went to my grandma's house, I used to stay up late and watch the movie channels. And for rated R movies and stuff, you know, I can get away with it. This was one of them. And out of all those movies that I watched on there, I think this is the only one I think, well, besides The Gate, but I haven't actually gone out and bought that yet. So this is like the only one I actually went out and bought. Like I saw it at a Shopko one day, and I was like, son of a bitch. Bought it right away. It was like $5. You know, I miss Shopko. I miss going over to Shopko and looking at movies. I got a bunch of freaking movies from there. For a good price, somewhat. But, so this movie is sort of, not linked, but it's Pulp Fiction. I did a review for Pulp Fiction, and it's like that in that it's told non-linear. But I think it's a little bit different than Pulp Fiction in that it connects all the characters together. Like it's told non-linear from 3 different points of views. 3 different point of views. And it, you know, the 3 point of views are Rana, Simon, and then Zach and Adam. And then there's a little thing in the end that's told from Katie Holmes' point of view, but that's very quick. And they don't even acknowledge it in the synopsis that I've read other places, that it's told from 3 different points of view. And we'll start with Rana. Rana works at a grocery store, and she's having trouble paying her rent. So her friend Simon gives her his hours, his shifts, so that he can go to Vegas with his friends. Of course, she needs the money, so she takes it, and then Zach and Adam show up to make a deal with Simon for some ecstasy. And we find out what that's about a little bit later. You sort of figure out with Rana's story, but with Zach and Adam's story, you really figure out what's going on. So Rana, being smart and wanting to get some extra money, she's smart at some points and then she's really fucking stupid in some other points. So she wants to make some money. So she goes to Simon's dealer, Todd, played by Timothy Oliphant, who's fantastic in this film, by the way. He's an underrated actor. I wish he had more roles. I'm just saying. And so she makes a deal with him after a little song and dance type thing. And they leave. Her name is Claire, I think. I think it's Claire. That's Katie Holmes' character as collateral, so that he can get it, you know, she can pay the money to him and get Claire back. And so she and Manny go to meet with Zach and Adam. And I don't know if she's distracted or what, but Manny takes 2 pills of ecstasy. And then she goes in to make the deal, and she realizes that it's like it's revealed later that one of the 2, Zach or Adam, is basically telling her, get out. So she dumps the ecstasy down the toilet, and then because she asked for orange juice, because it was a test, because like she wants the orange juice because they bought a bunch of orange juice. And then William Fichtner comes back with beer and says we're all out of orange juice. And then you know, Zach and Adam are like, no, we just have it in our trunk, which we see the trunk later and there's no orange juice in there, so they must have like thrown it out or something. But yeah, so she then comments how she's supposedly underage. We're guessing she's like 18, 19, supposedly. she's underage and that she shouldn't be drinking. And being that he's a cop, he decides just to let her go. This is where she gets fucking stupid. So she goes back to Todd. She decides she's got to get the money back, and so he can get Claire back too. So she goes to the maybe this isn't so stupid. She goes to back to the grocery store and she steals a bunch of cold medicine and like tablets, cold medicine tablets and aspirins and stuff, and asks Manny because he took them what they look like, and he points out the aspirins or whatever. Or he points out one of the pills, little round white, and they put enough into a bottle that she sells the bottle, and so she gives it back to him, to Todd, and said that they weren't interested or something, just so they can get Claire back. Now, that ends the sort of smart part of this. Where she's stupid is, so her idea was to, okay, here's the thing. Her idea, right, is to disguise normal allergy and aspirin pills and stuff as the ecstasy and give it back to Todd to get Claire back and also the money back, right? But then they go to the rave and they turn around. They go to the rave, and then she takes what's left of the medication that she stole from the grocery store and sells it as ecstasy to the people at the rave. Now, I'm never, said that I'm a smart dude. I'm not. I'm dumb. But my brain started to think. Me thinks it would have been much simpler if she just gone to the rave, sold the pills as ecstasy there, then showed up with Todd's money and gotten Claire out of there, and she'd have been in the safe. She'd have been, out of the red. But no, she doesn't, and then Todd realizes that they're not actually the right pills, so he goes after her with a gun. And this little exchange in this part of Rana's story ends with her getting a car backing up, hitting her. Ow. And just like Todd standing there. And then that ends that part of the story, and we cut to Simon, who's in a trunk and with his friends in Vegas. Now, this is my favorite part of the film, is this little section in Vegas with Simon and Marcus, who's Taye Diggs' character, and the other two. Although it is the most annoying. Breckin Meyer, I love Breckin Meyer. I love him. He's a good actor. I even like him in Garfield. Those movies are terrible, but in Road Trip especially, which one of these days I gotta review that. But here's the thing, though. He's fucking annoying in this movie because for some reason they wrote his character as one of those, like Malibu's Most Wanted, but not as Jamie Kennedy as that one, but like he talks like he's black. You know what I mean? He even calls himself the N-word, to which Taye Diggs has to call it, what N-word? This N-word? Just like call him out on it, punch him in the face or nothing, but just like it's racist, to be honest. But he gets to come up and see any other guy because there's a scene where they get to Vegas and they're at the buffet and they're scooping up shrimp, and Marcus says, hey, he eats healthy and stuff. Hey, don't be eating that shrimp. There's like iodine and stuff in there that's gonna make you sick. And they do it anyway. But here's the thing: is I don't get so much to eat the shrimp, but they show how they're putting the shrimp in the bread and stuff with the tail still on it. That explains how they got sick. Take the tail off, man. So this conversation. And I gotta mention this part, as weird as it's gonna be, because it connects to something later in the film that is a problem. So, Marcus is having this conversation with Simon at the table where they're eating, about tantric sex. No, come back. I'm not gonna get come back. No, I'm just kidding. No, dude, stay. I'm not gonna get technical. But here's the thing. He says that he's done it. If you know what tantra is, It's how you can last longer and supposedly, I'm not, for sure, have longer lasting, we'll just call them O moments, okay? Longer lasting O moments. And so he says that he has had sex for up to 14 hours, which, how? I don't know if you can go that long. And that he's had O moments that last an hour and a half. First of all, I don't know if you can O for an hour and a half. Maybe the feeling could last for an hour and a half, but even that would feel weird. Where you just, for an hour and a half, it was just weird. I don't know if that's even possible. So he's talking about tantric and how, you're supposed to do this, do that. But then there's a scene later in this segment where Simon meets two women at he basically crashes a wedding reception. And he meets these two women, they end up doing it, and there's a point where he makes the O face, and then they're like, "Did you go?" And he's like, "No." And she's like, "Why?" And he's like, "Tantra, baby." I'm like, that's not what Marcus explained. First of all, you cannot hear someone talk about tantric sex and then suddenly you know how to do it like that. Two, the way Marcus explained it is that you wouldn't have an O moment. Like he said 14 hours. So if you go 14 hours, you wouldn't have the O moment until the 14 hours are over. He made the O face, he made the sound. He had the O moment. There's no doubt about it. Unless they, filmed it wrong, that's not what Marcus was talking about. And that just bugged me. I never thought about it till the other day watching it. And I'm just like, no, that's not what Marcus was talking about. They don't know if the writers don't know what it is, why did they put it in the film? Because they have Marcus explain it one way, and then Simon supposedly does it totally different from what Marcus was explaining. Okay, the way that Marcus explained it, you wouldn't feel anything until after the 14 hours or whatever the longest time you could have it would take. So, I don't know. I'm not going to talk about it anymore, but then they set the room on fire because, they were smoking weed before this, and one of the girls can't hold it in, so she puts like tissues in her nose, but then they get set on fire when they go to light the weed, and then they just throw it down, although it seems to take forever for something to catch fire, which I know fires can do that, but still. So Simon runs out, he finds Marcus, and they take some guy's car for some reason, and then go on a little drive. Simon finds a gun in the glove compartment, and then they go to a strip club. They go to the strip club, and the one rule is you can't touch the strippers. But Simon does anyway, that's what gets him in trouble, and he ends up shooting the bouncer, which, didn't they? I swear they checked him before they went in. I don't know how you could hide the gun, but maybe they didn't check him. Maybe that was the thing, is that the boss guy with the mustache said, "We didn't check him!" So now these guys are chasing after them. One thing I do like is the music in this, alright? "Steal My Sunshine" by Lynn. I know it's not for me when you steal my sunshine. That's late 90s, right? That's 90s right there. And then they have a remix of Steppenwolf. "You don't know what we may find. Why don't you come with me, little girl, on a magic carpet ride?" I almost messed it up. It's a remix of that. And there's actually a music video. I don't know if it's on the DVD or not, but there's a music video that has the four guys from this segment in it. It's kind of cool. You should look it up. Go Magic Carpet Ride remix or something like that. I don't know. Gary Steyer mix, I think is what it's called. But yeah. So then it ends with them going back, getting the other two, because they were throwing up, so they stayed in the room. Going back at the other two and then taking off. We then cut to Zach and Adam's section. Zach and Adam are two gay soap opera actors who are being, blackmailed, or they're being brought in by William Fichtner, who plays a cop, who is telling them they have, he's using them to get Simon for the drug deal. Like like I explained earlier, the whole Rana thing, that was a setup to bust someone for the drugs. And that's why they told her to get out. And we see that part happening but then they go through this, like there's a conversation that they're having with William Fichtner's character in the car while they're putting their wires on, about how he asked Jay Moore's character, I don't know if it's Zach, I think, if he has a girlfriend. He's, oh, I did, but she cheated on me, which he's talking about Adam. And my big thing is they're talking about how they have girlfriends and how, his girlfriend's cheating on him and his girlfriend's cheating on him. But when William Fichtner's just sitting there believing it, but then when they get to William Fichtner's house later, because he said, I'll sign off the papers if you come to my house and have dinner with me. And when they get there later, the wife has already figured out that they're gay. Like, she's talking to Scott Wolf, and she basically, comes out like, was it like being gay? Or whatever. And I'm like, but she can figure it out. But Fichtner can't. Fichtner's a smart guy. You should have been the Shredder in the Ninja Turtles movie. I'm just saying. But you can figure it out. But anyway, they brought him to dinner. An ulterior motive was to help them sell Confederated products. I don't know what that is. I should have looked it up. They say Amway. You know what Amway is? It's basically that. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. But they basically, I guess they say no. And then they go to get some wine. And they're talking, and like one of them, Zach's like, who did you sleep with? And he's like, I'm not telling you. He goes, I'll tell you mine. And it turns out it was the same guy. This is where it gets confusing for me, because they go to the guy's apartment, and you see a cameo by a young Melissa McCarthy, by the way, who tells them he went to the rave. So they get to the rave, and Zach comes in first, and he starts flirting with him, whatever, there's a kiss, and whatever. And then Adam comes up from behind, and then they cut the guy's hair off. He's got like long hair. What did he do? Like, they're so pissed off because they both cheated with him. What's the big deal here? Are they mad because he was two-timing them with each other? But yet then they're not mad at each other anymore for cheating on each other with the same guy, but they're taking it out on him. I don't get it. I didn't think about it before, but watching it now, I don't get it. Why is this guy getting punished for their infidelities with the same guy? Like, I don't get it. If someone knows, if someone has seen this movie before, let me know. I don't get it. And then we see that the car that hit Rana was in fact Zach and Adam, and now they're contemplating whether or not they should, like, they drive off because they think she's dead, and they say, well, if she's dead, she's dead, but if she's not dead, that guy had a gun. They're talking about Todd because he showed up with a gun, and then he probably killed her. So if she's dead, she's dead. If she's not dead, she's probably dead. But they go back anyway to check on her, and their idea is to just get rid of the body, I think. But then they find out she's alive, so they decide to finish the job? Yeah, like, they're like, oh, she's alive, and they're like, oh, we'll just continue plan A. Plan A, she was dead. So Jay Moore goes and grabs something out of the trunk, and is like, gonna kill her, and I'm like, what? Just take her to the fucking hospital. You can explain it away. You can say, hey, it was raining, it was dark, we couldn't see, we backed up, and we accidentally hit her. That's all you gotta say, but no. And they still don't take her to the hospital, though. They don't kill her, but they don't take her to the hospital. They just decide to throw in someone's car, have the car alarm go off. But did they do it to multiple cars? Because now all cars have alarms. So did they do it to each car until they found one with an alarm? And then she gets taken to the hospital. But still, just take her to the hospital. Say it was an accident. But then here's the part that really... Because the reason they go back is because Adam still has his wire on. Okay, I'm calling bullshit there. You would feel it. Alright? And I'm sorry, but if I was in like a sting operation like that, I want to get the wire off right away. I wouldn't forget about it. Why would you forget about it? It's so stupid. Nothing comes from it anyway. But I gotta go back a little bit. So after Todd showed up during the Rana portion, the Rana portion, everyone separated, and Manny was fucked up out of his mind from the ecstasy. So Rana kind of shoved him in a little area, and it was dark, so she couldn't remember where it was. And then Katie Holmes went off on her own little way, and then she got hit by the car, of course. So we cut to the next morning. Rana wakes up in the hospital and just gets out of the hospital and goes to work. That's not how it works. You were hit by a car. You wouldn't be able to just wake up in the hospital, get up, and leave. Someone would stop you. Someone would say, hey, we need to make sure there's no internal bleeding. We need to, a doctor or a nurse would come in to talk to you. You can't just leave right away. And that's what the movie makes it seem. You shouldn't talk to no doctors, nothing. It's make it seem like she woke up, got up, left. She goes back to the grocery store. Now I'm going a little far ahead. There's another part before Rana shows up where, and this part is kind of stupid. It's really just stupid, but it ties up Simon's story arc. So, Claire, that's Katie Holmes' character, Claire goes to a diner where they meet if they get separated, and she sees Todd, Tim the elephant. So she goes over, just sits at his booth, orders coffee, and starts talking to him. And then it looks like it's going to be awkward, but then it cuts to him bashing the Family Circus, which is a comic, And then, there's a line at the beginning of the movie that shows her talking to him about how she likes surprises like Christmas. Like the two of them sitting there, you never know what's going to happen. And then this time she says it again, and it cuts to them making out on the stairs. And it looks like they're about to do it on the stairs in the middle of an apartment building before Todd's cat comes out. He said, how'd you get out? And then the mustache guy from Vegas, who somehow got there very quick. I don't know what they're supposed to live in, but they're very quick. And because he knew about the credit card Simon used was Todd's credit card, so he figured that out. And so the whole thing is, and he had not hesitated. He was showing them where Simon's apartment was, how to get there. And then Simon shows up looking for a safe place, and they're there, and they're ready to shoot him. But Claire's like, "Hey, hello, witness, what are you gonna shoot us both?" Pointing to her and Todd. I was like, "Shut the fuck up, Claire." Okay, in this situation, I think Claire and Simon would be fucked, but Todd wouldn't, because Todd's not gonna squeal on the cops about this. But Claire would. So they would shoot Claire and Simon. They would shoot Simon, then Claire. But Todd would be safe because he's not going to go to the cops. He would just tell him not to make a mess in his apartment. You know what I mean? Someone else could hear the gunshots and call the cops, So they decide that the best way to handle this is that because Simon shot the guy in the arm, the guy now has to shoot Simon in the arm. He even takes a marker and marks it off. That's the nice fleshy bit right there. And he shoots him. We don't see it because Claire's like, I'm out of here. I'm just out of here. So she leaves. First of all, why would they this is just shooting him in the arm. But you hear the gunshot. She's like, and then it cuts to Ronnie getting out of the hospital, going to the place. And she's like, it's a long story. And Claire's like, well, where's Manny? So then they got to go find him. And he's hiding. He's still tweaked out. And they give him to the car and he says, so, what are we doing for New Year's? And I always thought that meant that they were planning a sequel, but never materialized. We just had this film. It's a fantastic film, full of comedy, full of some action. There's titties for people who like that, like myself. But yeah, I highly recommend this movie. It's very good. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10 because I can't bring myself to give this a perfect score, just because there's a couple things that kind of knocked it down for me. So it's a 9 out of 10. What are your thoughts on Go? Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.